Mrs. Smith, I see you have your call light on. Is there something I can help you with? Oh, you need the bedpan? Okay, my name's Sandy. I'll be your nursing assistant today, and I'm going to go wash my hands, and I'll be happy to help you with that. Wash my hands, and pull the privacy curtain all the way around the bed. So I'll actually do that. And then for testing purposes, you can go ahead and open that back up. And so that you can see the video, I'm going to go ahead and open that back up just so that you can see today. I'm going to check the bed breaks. I'm going to go around to the opposite side of the bed, make sure that the side rails are up, and I'm going to raise the bed to working height. I've already covered Mrs. Smith with a bath blanket, and I fan folded the top linens to the bottom of the bed. I'll put on gloves. And I'm going to roll Mrs. Smith over to the side. On the count of 3, Mrs. Smith, we're going to roll you over. If you can reach over and grab that side rail, that would be wonderful. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Now Mrs. Smith already has a waterproof pad up underneath her, so I'm going to go ahead and use that waterproof pad. Now Mrs. Smith may be using either a fracture pan, which looks like this, and if you place the fracture pan on your patient, the thick part of the pan catches the urine, and the thin part of the pan would be where the hips sit. This is a standard bedpan. And with the standard bedpan, it's the same rule. The thickest part of the bedpan is where the urine is caught, and the thinnest part is the place where the hips will sit. So when I put Mrs. Smith on her bedpan, I'm going to place it like this. And as I roll her back over, I'm going to take the bedpan and I'm going to push it down into the mattress and next to Mrs. Smith as she rolls back over onto that bedpan. How's that feel, Mrs. Smith? Does that feel okay? Good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make sure you have a little bit of toilet paper handy. So I'll leave that with you right there. I'm going to go ahead and lower the bed. And Mrs. Smith can't use a bedpan like this, so I want to make sure that the head of the bed is raised as well. Tell me when you're comfortable, Mrs. Smith. Alright, again, there's your toilet paper. I'm going to just check this bedpan to make sure you're going to hit it, and yep, that's perfect. I'm going to leave the trash can over here so that when you're finished wiping, if you'll throw your toilet tissue in the trash can, I'd appreciate it because we're going to end up measuring your urine. The last thing I'm going to do is take my glove off, come over and lower the side rails. Make sure Mrs. Smith has her call light handy. Here you go, Mrs. Smith. Here's your call light, so feel free to go ahead and use that whenever you're finished with the bedpan. And as I exit the room, I'm going to leave the privacy curtain pulled. I'm going to wash my hands as I leave, and I'm going to make sure that I shut the door behind me. Now that Mrs. Smith has put her call light on, I'm ready to re-enter the room. Knock, knock, knock. Hi, Mrs. Smith. It's Sandy, your nursing assistant. Are you finished with the bedpan? Alright, well let me go ahead and wash my hands. I'm going to raise the side rails on the opposite side of the bed. And her privacy curtain has remained pulled this whole time. So I'm going to leave that pulled closed so Mrs. Smith still has some privacy. Were you able to wipe yourself, Mrs. Smith? Good. I'm going to go ahead and lower the head of your bed. I'll raise the bed to working height. And I'm going to go ahead and take your toilet paper from you, Mrs. Smith. I'm also going to wash and dry your hands. I have a wet wash rag with a little bit of no-rinse soap. And I'm going to wash Mrs. Smith's hands very thoroughly. And I also want to make sure that I dry them. And I want to make sure that I dry between the fingers thoroughly as well. Smith, we're going to roll you off that bedpan on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And as I roll Mrs. Smith off, I'm going to use one hand on the side of the bedpan to kind of push it down into the bed so that it doesn't tip and tilt when I roll Mrs. Smith off the bedpan. So ready, Mrs. Smith, if you can reach over and grab that side rail. 1, 2, and 3. And Mrs. Smith goes off the bedpan. And I'm going to take the bedpan and I'm going to go ahead and set it on my barrier. And I may at this time have to help Mrs. Smith wipe just a little bit. Mrs. Smith, can you go ahead and hold on to that side rail for me? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. And I'll make sure that she's clean behind. So whatever it takes to get her clean, I will make sure that I wipe her enough so that she is clean. At this point, I may have a little bit of urine on this waterproof pad. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that away next to Mrs. Smith, and then I'll roll her back. All right, Mrs. Smith, we're going to roll you back onto your back. Get rid of that waterproof pad. And if Mrs. Smith is a patient that always uses waterproof pads, I would have to place a new waterproof pad as well as take the old one away. Alright, Mrs. Smith, I'm going to go ahead and lower your bed. Is there anything else I can get for you? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use the back of my knuckle to lower Mrs. Smith's bed. And also, Mrs. Smith, would you like the head of your bed raised? Yes? Okay, very good. And at this time, Mrs. Smith still has her call light, so I'm going to probably be okay to go ahead and take the bedpan, go to the bathroom, and measure it. I may also want to go ahead and lower those side rails. Now that I've brought Mrs. Smith's bedpan into the bathroom, I'm going to take the cover off. I'm going to use that as a barrier so that I can set my bedpan down in the bathroom, and probably I would use the back of the toilet to place my barrier down, and that's where I could set my bedpan. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lift the toilet seat and bring that sprayer down. And I'm going to empty the bedpan into the graduated cylinder. Once I've done that, I'm going to put the graduate up on the barrier. And I'm going to read the measurement at eye level, and it looks like Mrs. Smith has voided exactly 500 cc's of urine. So at this point I'm going to start to disinfect my bedpan. So I'm going to disinfect both the outside and the inside of the bedpan. And you'll disinfect according to your center's policies. Some centers will just use soap and water. Other centers will use a specific disinfectant for the bedpan. So follow your center's policies. I start drying with the outside first, and then I dry the inside. And once that's disinfected and dried, I'm going to place that on my barrier. I'm now going to take my graduated cylinder and I'm going to dump the urine out, noting color, clarity, amount, odor, and whether there's any particles in the urine. So remembering that there was 500 cc's of clear yellow urine, I'm going to dump that out and disinfect the graduate. And then I'll rinse that graduate out. to it as well. And I'll place that in my bedpan. Make sure that I put the toilet seat down, make sure I've cleaned up any extra water. Place the sprayer back to its original position. Throw my barriers in the trash that I've used. And I'll bring my bedpan back to the room. Discarding my linen as I go back. When I get back to the room, I can again place my bedpan on the barrier. I'm going to take one glove off. I'm going to transport my bedpan to the bedside stand. Using my ungloved hand, I'll open the bedside stand and store both my bedpan and my graduated cylinder. At this point, I could go ahead and remove Mrs. Smith's bath blanket and cover her up with her sheets, if I have not already done that earlier. I would also want to store her toilet paper as well. And anything else that had been stored, I would go ahead and do that while I still have my glove on. When I'm finished doing all of the storing and I'm finished working with any dirty items, I can then take my last glove off, make sure Mrs. Smith has her call light, I'll open the privacy curtain, and wash my hands. Now that I've finished giving Mrs. Smith a bedpan, the only thing left to do is document. So I'm going to take the documentation card and I'm going to print my name, full first name, full last name. And that is right above where it says candidate's printed name. I'm also going to print the patient's name, and this is Mary Smith. I'm going to document her output, and she had 500 cc's of urine, and so I wrote the 500, your cc's are right here. I'm going to put the date. This is October 16th, 2012, and the time in military. So now it's 12:35 in the afternoon, so when I write that in military time, I'm going to put it as 12:35. And then of course I have to sign full first name, full last name, and my title. As a student, your title will be Student STNA. And then when you pass the state test, your title will be STNA. And with that, the skill is complete.